In this video, I'll be talking about some of the skills that we're looking to develop in our students here at Horizon, namely independence and exploration. But I'd like to start off by thinking about two questions. First, what is the purpose of school? And second, what are the traits of successful, confident, happy people? Surely the purpose of school is to help nurture successful and happy people. And I think most people know this, but often students and young people are confused about the journey that schools take to get there. For me, this is illustrated by the stereotypical question of, when am I ever going to use this in real life? And something like trigonometry always seems to spring to mind when asking this question, but it could just easily be about analysing a poem or learning about the Vikings or identifying parts of a cell. Of course, each of these things might be useful in certain jobs or certain moments in life, but generally, most of these things learnt in school will never be of any use. They'll be useful for passing exams, but that's not the point of school. So, why don't we teach useful things? Well, what's useful for an engineer might not be useful for a doctor or an author or a politician. And what's useful knowledge in the UAE might not be helpful in the UK or Canada or China, and in a diverse international setting, who knows where our students may find themselves in 10 years' time. So, why do we teach these things? Well, curriculum is made up of topics and knowledge, but these topics are just a vehicle for learning a deeper, often hidden curriculum of skills. In secondary at Horizon, our students know these as the priceless learning skills. These are the skills that contribute to developing our students to become confident, successful, happy adults. So let's talk about the priceless learning skills. The number one thing on a lot of people's list would be resilience, being determined and not giving up. Secondly, the ability to collaborate and work with other people, but also to be able to work independently, to be able to explore and learn new things and make discoveries for themselves. To be able to communicate and demonstrate effective leadership, having the creativity to come up with original ideas, to innovate and think critically, to be able to see things that others haven't thought of. Last but not least, to be able to solve problems. And I'm not talking about just maths problems here, but problems like, how do we reduce the amount of plastic in the oceans? Or how do we ensure that a COVID vaccine is distributed fairly and efficiently? They don't have to be global scale problems, just problems around how to make something better, or more effective, or more efficient, or cheaper. Over the winter break, I was watching a documentary about the Australian cricket team, and I heard Australian spin bowler Nathan Lyon say, "Test cricket is just about problem solving, how to get the bloke at the other end out." And it struck me that problems really are everywhere, and successful people are, without exception, good at solving problems. Employers are always looking to employ people who can solve their problems for them, and it also stands to reason that people who can solve problems will be happier as they have fewer problems. In Mr. Parker's related video, he will discuss the nuts and bolts of the newly released home learning policy, whereas I'll continue to discuss two of our priceless learning skills in more depth, independence and exploration, through the lens of the home learning policy, and also how this links to Mr. Hagen's recent video on the importance of regular reading. Then I'll finish this video with a short section on how you, as parents, can support your children, our students, with their learning journey in secondary at Horizon. Over the past 5 years, I've personally seen many of our students' independence and assessment capability develop, but we're still looking to continue this journey to develop our current students further and support our new students in developing this skill. So, what does an effective independent learner look like? First of all, they're resourceful. They're able to use the resources provided to them to be able to learn, explore and develop for themselves. They are self-starters. They don't rely on a teacher or parent or tutor to tell them what to do and when to do it. They are assessment capable, reflective enough to be able to identify what they're good at, what they need to improve on, and crucially, to be able to take action. Prioritising, working smarter, not harder. Independent learners love a challenge. They choose work that's challenging and stretches them by exploring topics in depth, not just accelerating through a curriculum. They're intrinsically motivated. They take action because they want to learn and improve, not because they've been told that they have to. And most importantly, independent learners focus on the process of learning and understand that when this is done right, grades will take care of themselves. My son is nearly 7 months old, and he arrives at nursery each morning to this message. Not that he's able to read it, but curiosity starts here. And as you all know as parents, small children have an intense curiosity about the world around them, which tends to dwindle as they get older. Often by the time they reach us, curiosity is just a faint memory. And our challenge is to try and re-stimulate students' academic curiosity by exploring the topics that interest them. Our homework policy is broadly divided into 2 parts. The first, to promote independence and development of basic skills, and the second is aimed at giving students the opportunity to explore their subjects in depth through investigation, research, and wider reading. As Mr. Hagen said previously, reading is hugely important for the many reasons that he mentioned. But in this case, reading around a subject, as many of you know, is a crucial element of being successful in higher education. When applying and interviewing for top universities, students are expected to be able to talk about the things that interest them about their subject. What books have they read? What articles have they found interesting? What videos have they watched? I remember a conversation with an admissions tutor at Oxford, where he said if a student he was interviewing had said in an application that they'd read a certain book or an article, he would make sure that he'd also read that book or article, so he was able to ask meaningful questions about it, and in some cases just check whether they had actually read it. Our aim is to provide our students with texts and tasks and videos and challenges that enrich and inspire and further promote their love for a subject. Students don't necessarily have to be reading around every single subject, but trying to identify what interests them and spending more time exploring it in more depth. So finally, what can you do as parents to support our students? The first thing to support their journey to becoming independent learners is just by allowing them to work independently without too much telling or hours of tutoring that can make them reliant on someone other than themselves. It's up to the team around a child to be consistently having the right conversations with students and asking questions, not telling answers. Questions like, how would you rate your effort on this work? How can this work be improved? Which part of this work are you most proud of? What are your strengths in English? What are your areas for development in maths? Tell me about what you've been doing in science. What about your progress in Arabic? Lastly, celebrating effort over intelligence, celebrating attitude and mindset over grades and percentages, focusing on the process of learning. For example, a football team trains all week without obsessing about the score at the weekend coming. They work on their strategies, their formations, they practice skills, they collaborate, so that at the weekend, hopefully the results will be positive. Trust the process and the outcomes will look after themselves. Clearly, this is not an overnight process and there is no quick fix for any of these things, and we know that many of our students find both independence and exploration very challenging. But with the wide range of resources available in our new home learning policy, there will be something for everyone, and we look forward to seeing the journey that our students take over the next month, year, 2 years, 10 years, on the path to becoming successful, confident, and happy young adults.